So we have the lovely Leslie Lambert from Park Square Realty and one of our sponsors. Leslie is a real estate agent who centers in Westfield and Southwick, but does a lot of work in the entire valley. Then we also have Alfonso, who runs Businews channel and has a lot of video content there. And so Businews channel also does social media marketing for companies.
Well, the Business channel is under my marketing agency.
Marketing agency, right.
Creative strategy.
That's right, creative strategy agency. And then we have Kelly Galanis, who is also a Podcamp co-organizer and has been doing Podcamp since the inception. And so Kelly's online personal brand is the Redheaded Diva. A lot of cool content coming from there. And then, of course, we have Michael Connolly of Stinky Cakes, an all-around amazing entrepreneur and Podcamp success story. So that's our four panelists, so I guess I will let Leslie kick it off.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. I'm super glad to see so many familiar and also some very new faces today. I'll start off by saying my Twitter handle is my name, @Leslie Lambert, L-E-S-L-E-Y. And I would love to connect with any of you that I'm not already connected with on Twitter. As Morris mentioned, I am a realtor here in Western Massachusetts. I'm going into my 25th year in real estate. And part of what I spent the recession doing, besides praying, was, and crying and praying and crying, was repositioning myself online with internet marketing and social media. Podcamp was a huge turning point for me. The first Podcamp was right on the heels of me deciding that I needed to switch my marketing from being traditional marketing to being online specific. I spend no money on print advertising at all anymore. It's all strictly online, which I think is probably the same for many of you. And at that time, I was sort of an early adopter, especially as far as real estate people go. But I have a breadth of experience that started real estate back when there was a book. There was, if you wanted to buy a house, you had to get a realtor to bring the book. And that's where all the houses were. It was the only place you could find. And the book was 2 weeks old, and a lot of those houses that you were falling in love with, in the black and white newsgrain, were sold already. We didn't have fax machines. We actually had to go door to door and do everything face to face. It was, very, very old. It's dinosaur. I'm a dinosaur. So I started there and have, sort of worked my way to recreating to being digitally based, which is kind of interesting, I think. It was for me anyway. And from a personal branding standpoint, what I've done is niche myself as being the high-tech realtor, as being, and I try to blend it with high-tech with old-fashioned service, because I want people to know that I'm still there for them. I'm still going to do the face-to-face and touchy-feelies when that's that point in the transaction. But as far as marketing is concerned and getting their house out there in the world in every way conceivable so that their buyer who starts online, the NAR says 80% of home buyers start online before they contact any real estate professional to help them. I suspect it's actually higher than that. But even at 80%, it's still proof that if you have a house to sell, it needs to be online. And so, that's been sort of my direction where I've been niching myself as being very tech savvy and very aggressive as a listing agent using the social media and internet to market them as much as myself, market their property and get their home sold, get more eyeballs on it and more feet through the door. So I have a hand in most social media platforms. So if you have questions about specific platforms and how you might use them, I've probably at least tried it. Twitter being my favorite, Facebook and is probably my next favorite after that.
Since this is about branding, I thought I just pulled you up, I just Googled you, and it's a really great shot. I wish it'd be nice if we could just have that up there. If we're talking about branding, I want to see, how to brand yourself.
Well, maybe Morris can. Thank you for the suggestion. Maybe Morris can do that. Yeah, and as outside of branding myself as the high-tech realtor, I'm also very community-based, and a lot of what you'll see with what he pulls up won't be about real estate at all. I spend a lot of time talking about where we live, because I think that only makes sense with, you know, if you're choosing a community to live in, you want to know what the community is like. So I do. There's Leslie. I'm a little afraid what he's going to pull.
Which one?
I don't care.
I mean, it's a pretty safe audience to do that, so.
You know what? It's all out there anyway, so if you want to see it, you'll see it. If I shouldn't have posted it, I probably did. I have a card with Oversharers Anonymous. But so anyhow, that's, you know, just sort of an overview for me. That's sort of how I came about to branding myself in this space and trying to become sort of the high-tech realtor in Western Mass and the go-to girl if you want to get your house sold.
I'm Alfonso. I own the Creative Strategy Agency. It's a digital marketing agency. I started it, August will be 4 years, so like Leslie is kind of on the cusp of the economy being in fantastic shape. You know, when else would you want to start a business? But, you know, like a lot of people that do start the business, I actually lived in Boston and I got laid off, and I, you know, grew up in the area, so I came back, and that's when I decided to start the company. And for me, it was always more about getting people to know who I am. Even if they're going to do business with the agency, it's great, but if they're doing business with the agency, they're doing business with me. So, you know, even through Twitter and, you know, the business account, my account, my biggest thing is the engagement aspect of people getting to know who I am as a person, even with business and what I do. But at this point, I think if you go the way that I handle myself online, people know what I do. It's just now I get more personal, or more personable, I guess you could say, sharing little things throughout the day that has to do with me, not necessarily tied to the business, and it gets people an insight of who I am. Because at the end of the day, you want to do business with people that like you, that want to, you know, have relationships with you, connect with you. So if I, you know, through social media, for example, and I have a icon that's not my face or that's something else, for me, I use it in a sense of, for marketing, we try to get clients. It's people, there's a lot of marketers and there's a lot of great social media professionals, and there's a lot of, you know, Western Mass has a lot of great people that do what you do, but people do business with who they want to do. So I just basically try to show people who I am, and if they want to do business with me, fantastic. If they don't, I mean, there's a lot of efficiency. So it's basically, I just put my foot forward and try to let people know who I am as a person, as a business owner, as a young professional in Western Mass. Just let people know what I do in the community, at work. I have Ken, I don't know if he's in here. Susie used to intern me. She can tell you I'm a little wackadoo. She is too, that's why she got hired. But it's, you know, who I am in person is exactly who I am online. And I think, for example, when I met everyone here through Podcamp, when we first met, it was just like I'm the exact same person as I am, as I tweet, as I post, as I do anything. So I think that's very important when you're trying to brand yourself, is not to create something or someone that you're not. Be who you are, but really own it and make sure what you're doing online, you're doing it offline.
And I would say that's probably a trait that's kind of a thread through the four of us, knowing how we all go about our online selves. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm done. For now.
No, 2 tough acts to follow. Hi everyone, I'm Kelly Galanis, the Redheaded Diva. I would like to say that I began my persona from the first Podcamp. I attended Podcamp way back when we had about 45 members, and I saw everyone was there from different walks of life. It didn't matter what job you had. There was people from healthcare, there were people from real estate, from businesses, really all over. And the one thing I noticed was that the education realm was a little bit underrepresented at the time. And I thought, well, I'm a higher education professional. I've had over 12 years of experience in administration and teaching. And I decided, you know what, I think we need to think about how we're educating people with social media. So the Redheaded Diva was born, and I am, oh, there I am. Hi, everyone. And there's Leslie. I like to cross-promote people. So But
Super.
Yep, so what I am is I am a professional socializer. That is my working title. I work with people to develop their online persona, just like these two lovely folks said. You know, it's really important to be the person that you are behind the computer screen. I help people develop that persona online that really reflects the true being that they are offline and in person, whether it be yourself, your business, your organization, group. I spend a lot of time teaching people in workshops. I've spent more time teaching today than I have sitting in sessions, so I think it just kind of runs in my blood. And I really just enjoy building confidence. That is my #1 thing. I believe it can be taught. I know some people don't think it can be, but I do think that is possible. It just involves a little soul searching inside. So that's me in a nutshell, I suppose. And if you Google me, hopefully all that stuff comes up. Yeah, but that's me.
So I'm Mike Conley. My Twitter handle, I have 2 Twitter handles, and it's funny because when I first started Twitter, I didn't think of it from a personal branding standpoint. A lot of my creative inspiration was from Buddy Velastro, the cake boss. So I called myself the diaper cake boss. That's where that initially came from. Then when I started speaking and doing a lot of other stuff, people would call me Mr. Stinky Cakes because they couldn't spell my name. It was all M-Y-C-H-A-L. What the heck is it? I can't find it. So I started going with Mr. Stinky Cakes. So now I have 2 Twitter handles, Diaper Cake Boss and Mr. Stinky Cakes. But how I use, that's my beautiful wife up there, with her head cut off. Let me tell you why. Because my wife is super shy and she was like, okay, I'll hold this cake, but don't put my face in it. How I use social media, personally, I just share what I love. Like, so I love inspiring entrepreneurs and innovative minds and creative people. So I share stuff that touch me and hopes to inspire them. I love talking about my kids, so I talk about my kids, and I love talking about my weight loss journey. So that's what I talk about. And anything that I always think it like this, like, you know, you have your favorite singer or your favorite performer, and they're so cool. And then you go and meet them, and he's like, "Man, I wish I never met you." You know, so I try to be consistent with who I am. So when I meet someone offline, it's like, "Oh, that's cool. I remember what you." And it's kind of scary too. It's a little scary. You meet someone for the first time, and they go and they tell you everything about you, and you go, "Yeah, that's kind of okay. I did do that. Now, how did I know you again?" but you get used to it. But on the side note about sharing everything. You know, like I said, I share a lot about my kids, so I'm kind of selective with what I share. So like just say I take my family on a trip. Sometimes I won't post about that trip until I come back. Or if my kids have something, like I never say exactly what school they at, because some people, you got to keep in mind that everyone's really nice. But what really? Yeah, no.
Hashtag.
The gift and the curse about social media is that people are paying attention. So once you start to become influential, you have to watch what you say, because I mean, you don't want to not be you, but you want to keep in mind other people's feelings and approaches. Like, real quick story. My wife and I and a couple of our friends, we were out eating. And we were just talking how, you know, certain people shouldn't wear certain outfits. And this is true. Like, I can't wear afro. As much as I love afros, if I have an afro, I look like a fool. It just doesn't fit my face. So I was saying, like, some people shouldn't wear certain outfits. And someone posted this picture with 3 people wearing the same outfit. And it was 3 ladies, and one of the ladies just should not have worn it. So I posted it on my Facebook. And I tagged my wife in it. I said, because this is what we were talking about. And I had like 2 ladies said to me, "I would never think you would post something like that." "Oh, what are you talking about? You just degraded women." I was like, "Wait, did you not notice that my wife was the person I tagged in it? And if you know anything about me, I have the utmost respect for women. I was raised by my mother, my grandmother, and I love my wife to be more than I love myself. Why would I disrespect women?" And she said, "Well, I didn't understand that." So I kind of explained to her it was a joke and what it was all about, and she was fine. But that made me think, like, okay, people really pay attention, and it's weird because most people don't say anything until they can say something to complain about. If you can put a million great things out, they never say anything. You put one thing out with 3 people dressed alike, and they complain. So
You gotta rock the boat.
exactly. But you know what? Don't focus on that too much though, because some people just negative no matter what. But so be you, but just consider other people's feelings and you know, just be, because the goal of social media is to get people to fall in love with you. When they fall in love with you, they'll support your projects.
To get back to the Twitter name thing, something along the lines of branding, since that's what we're here for. I made the choice. I get the question a lot when I teach Twitter is, you know, should I use my name? Should I use my company name? Should I have more than one Twitter handle? And of course, there's no one right answer, but my thought process behind my branding online is that my name is my one and only brand that will be with me forever.
Right.
And so if you look for me on any social network, if you put my name in, you'll find me. And that's my username everywhere. And I made that choice because while I am a realtor with Park Square Realty, for the last long while and plan to be there for a long while, life does take us down twists and turns, and if I had named myself, you know, Miss Park Square, and suddenly Park Square Realty was no more, and I had to move, well now that branding just disappeared itself, you know?
Not to mention Julianne would be unhappy with that.
I would continue to live in that shadow, no problem.
And with me, I'm jumping on what Leslie was saying, you know, owning my own business. Down the road, who knows if this great opportunity comes along that, I mean, God forbid, I don't plan on shutting down the doors. But again, I created my everything, whatever.com/Al Centinela is me. Even if I don't even use the site, I take my name. It's all about the branding. Because I don't want, and as bad as I say, who knows what's going to happen, but if someone takes a new social site that comes up and claims it as me and then starts imitating me and not in a good light, so it's very important to find out what you want to use, but make it consistent through all the platforms. So that way, if something does happen or someone tries to, it's just better safe than sorry. So I mean, for me personally, I use my name because I don't know what the future is going to hold. But again, what Leslie say, it's my name. So wherever you look for me, you're like, I'm going to be there. Luckily, there's not too many Alfonso Santinellas.
Not right there.
Yeah, there's the thing that's funny is I'm a twin too, but he can't be found on Google. I am. So it's all about how you want to use it. But once you use it, stick to it and stick to it on all platforms. That way, people are connected with you on Twitter. They'll know how to find you in other places and vice versa through other sites.
So for me, I decided to stick with Redheaded Diva, and actually, for the sites that when I first tried to get the Twitter handle Redheaded Diva, it was actually a site that sold toys for adults. But that soon died, and actually, Redheaded Diva K is my Twitter handle, and I tend to use that on most new social media sites too because it's consistent. My website is The Redheaded Diva though because I am one and only. So. And I guess
not to be confused, she doesn't sell adult toys.
No, I do not. But I always kind of throw that out there. That's not me if you find it. So.
Well, like for me, like I said, Stinky Cakes is my brand, right? So Stinky Cakes has its own Twitter stuff and all that good stuff. But I mean, I listen to what my audience call me. Like I cater to them. I mean, and just to say a new social media thing comes up, it's almost like the bigger you are, the more people try and grab your names. So ultimately, if you look at a lot of celebrities, they don't have their own names. Or if you look at a lot of big brands, they don't have, like for example, Edible Arrangements, their Twitter handle is Do Fruit. So you could always become creative and find some way for people to get in touch with you. But ultimately, what you want to do is copyright and trademark your names. And then if something like Johnny Cupcake, someone tried to steal a few of his names, but because he has that copywritten, his attorneys got it back for him. And the social media companies are pretty good with that. When you say, hey, listen, someone's infringing on my copyright, I need you to turn that over to me, and they'll turn it over to you. So once you, go call yourself Stinky Cakes and post something. You will be writing me a check. Because then that's what it is.
That's how the cake gets done.
But you have to do that because people like to copy. You have to protect yourself legally.
I guess we can open it up to the floor now.
Yeah, questions.
Is it
I have a question. So on Facebook, right now, I just have one page, it's a personal page, and I debated, should I make a business page? It's my own business. So, and I thought, well, I want people to know who I am. I don't want to have like certain people who are buying business and certain people who are buying me, because I just want to make it me, right? I know business.
Is the business under your name? Or is it like a natural business? The business name is different from your name?
Business name is different than my name.
You should have a page.
Yeah, you should have a page.
There's SEO benefits for it too. And you can certainly cross over. What I do with mine, I have a business page and my page, and sometimes I try not to do the same content there, but I mix it up where sometimes on my business page, like today I took a picture with my friend Diane Haley Brooks, and I put that on my business page versus my personal page, you know, whereas tip and mix it up. But you get SEO benefits, and then what I do is I'll remind people on my personal page that I have this real estate page also. You know, every now and again, not a ton, but every now and again I'll put the link to my business page and say, hey, you know, I try not to talk too much real estate over here, but if you're looking for some you know, local area tips and real estate information and news, this is where I share all of that. And then I have a ton of crossover.
What kind of business is it? Can I
It's
ask?
a permanent weight loss program.
So I would definitely suggest doing a separate page. I mean, it's one of those things where, like as you said, you can cross-function it. There's multiple different ways. But then also with the new graph search, and I know only certain people have it now with Facebook, that's going to be its own ranking, depending how it's found. So businesses will pop up before people, depending on what they type. So maybe they don't know your name, but they know the business name. So I would suggest definitely doing a business page.
And what was that, a graph search?
Graph search, it's a new search function that Facebook is rolling out. So it's basically all the business pages are going to be ranked by activity, by engagement, and so Facebook is going to be ranking business pages as people search for them. So I would create a business page, so that way if people are looking for your business, they'll get that page, and if they don't know your name specifically.
And, sorry, just real quick, and another thing with that too, if you use your personal page as your business page, people start tuning it out because it become like a big ad to them. So if you have both and you post your weight loss stuff, and you actually can share from your business page onto your personal page, and it kind of does the same thing like Leslie was saying, but you definitely want to kind of separate the two.
And even if, like, I really don't post on my personal page at all. Like, I'm sick of this, you know, it's sunny out. I see that.
Thank you.
And it's okay, you know, to keep
I'm
it
sorry
businessy,
I
but
put that up this
if you are going to go with a business page, though, it is important to keep it personal too. You know, always throw a little sprinkle in there about yourself. That shows that it's really you, you know, because people are interested in that. And I think it just brings the whole personal social media is people, not technology.
I think we had another hand here first. Yeah, Carol.
Yeah. Leslie, can you share how you incorporated your dance into your branding? Because as I remember, it came out of,
Yes.
you had some
So what
people.
Carol knows me well. We're good friends, and so I grew up dancing. I teach dance still. My daughters are competitive dancers, and so I've stayed involved. Even though you know, I'm full-time realtor, you don't do something for 25 years if you're not meaning it. But I feel passionately about dance as my outlet, personal outlet. You know, some people like to run. Some people like to play poker, whatever. I like to put on my tap shoes and tap it out. And so I was keeping... later at the bar, I'll tap dance at the bar. On the bar. Anyhow.
Isn't there a Podcamp drink too? Isn't there a
The Podsmo?
Podsmo, yeah.
I don't know if we do, but I'm sure we can just make it up. That's what we do all the time anyway. So anyway, I was keeping the two separated because I didn't want people to think that I wasn't working full-time in real estate. I didn't want them to think I was a part-time agent goofing off at real estate because I had another job. And I do get paid to teach dance, but that's not my job, if that makes sense to you guys at all. I don't know if some of you have sort of hobbies that are your lifelong passion, but that one is. And so it came from a discussion with Morris and a friend of mine who's also a realtor in Florida. Why was I keeping these two things separate? It was crazy. I have this pool of people that know me and hopefully like me at the dance studio. And So Leslie Lambert, Dancing Realtor, was born from that sort of a challenge. Morris and my friend Debbie threw it down. I did like a 20-second, really, for the video people in here, if you go look it up, I'm really sorry. It's a horrible quality video, but it's good tap dancing. And I threw up just this really short video of me tap dancing and was sort of to answer the challenge that Debbie gave. What's he doing? You could have looked at it anyway. I'll just sit here and blush. But so then I rolled out a bunch of Facebook ads targeting the studio's fan page because those people, you know, already know me as a dance teacher.
There we go.
So here's, it's super short.
It went viral, huh?
I told you. To do a decent one. It should get done. That's pretty bad, actually. 450 people have watched that.
A few observations. One, I noticed that, don't leave that page yet, Morris. Look what it says underneath there. It says, Leslie Lambert will give a song and dance, but never in her real estate business. So you are tweaking yourself, having a little fun at yourself, and also reinforcing your business message in a lighthearted, fun way.
Yes.
So that's totally in keeping with the brand you presented to us.
Yes. Thank you.
When I first went online, I had branded my company name in the real world back in the 80s and early 90s before I went online. That was Accurate Writing and More. The moment I got online, I basically stopped doing that. I mean, yes, I do own AccurateWriting.com, but that site has not been updated in 15 years. And I started branding my own name. And you know, no matter where you bump into Shel Horowitz online, it's going to be Shel Horowitz.
Right.
But the weird thing is, as a person who has 6,000 plus followers on Twitter, I can't look at everybody's profile. So I'm just looking at my own screen right now. I'm much more likely to follow somebody if I can tell from their name a bit about what they're about. So I'm following somebody named Letters of Gratitude. I don't know this person. If I see a name in my new followers stream, if I have a chance, yeah, I'll go and open up the email and see what their characteristics are, whether I want to go visit and follow. But if I've got 20, 30, 50, 100 of them waiting, maybe I've just been to a conference, I'm going to open up the ones with sexy names. I'm sorry. Even though I don't have that on Twitter for myself. If people are looking for, you know, I'm not green marketing guru, I'm Shel Horowitz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Joe?
I have a continuing argument online with my marketing friends about timed tweets. You know how you can schedule tweets? And I'm not a fan, but I was wondering, since maybe, Al, since you have a business page and a personal page, do you think it's less appropriate for your personal brand, or doesn't it matter?
Well, timing, I mean, there are certain times when it's appropriate, or certain content that's appropriate to schedule, like blog posts or things, just like regular content. But like my personal accounts, I never time things. It's whatever is in my mind when I write something new. It's out there. The business side of it, I do time things out because I mean I do have a staff, but we're busy with our client stuff. Sometimes our own stuff doesn't have to get time to work on. So we basically, I mean, for me, I'm not a big fan of, or, I mean, it's a give and take. It's kind of like a tug of war. It's on the content that needs to be timed. Again, Twitter, more specifically, I mean, that's such a live stream, fast-paced moving thing. In an hour, it's already stale, the tweet that you post. So it's more of, if you're timing content, it's maybe you do it for that morning for the day, and that's maybe the longest duration. You don't want to post something for next week because by that time it's irrelevant. Especially the way that people are with the media, with not just Twitter, with any social site. One day later, the news, it's old news. So timing it's okay. It depends on the content. But for my personal page and for any of the, it's more of when things happen for retweets. Like I retweet things that are more live streaming and doesn't become stale after an hour. So, because I mean, because my feed may travel fast because of the people I follow, the people that follow me doesn't necessarily mean that their feed is going extremely fast. So if I post something and they see it and it's no longer relevant, then it's just a useless tweet. So I try to keep it as very time sensitive as possible. So scheduling for my personal page, no. Business, on the content, yes.
I'm really curious why 2 of the 3 books that are showing there are books that are out of print and I have current ones.
That's a problem.
It's homework for you.
So on the note of personal versus business stuff, Leslie, I know that you have insights into that grasshopper thing. Do you want to talk about that?
What, happy grasshopper?
Yeah.
You mean? Oh, okay, I get where you're going with that.
The drink?
No. Who's on our mind?
I was gonna say,
It's happy hour,
Somewhere. There's in the real estate space, you know, and you guys as mostly non-realtors are probably impacted by this more than, you know, we realize, but it's, you know, some realtors tend to get over exuberant about inundating their sphere with statistical stuff and dry, pre-processed, boring real estate stats, right? And so, you know, if your cousin happens to be a realtor, you know for darn sure every couple of weeks you're going to get some like e-newsletter with all the stats of the, right? You know, and I don't know, maybe some of you like it. I do some of that myself, but I try not to do a lot of it because I think it's like eating dry toast, really, you know, and not having any milk with it. And so Happy Grasshopper, the company he's talking about, approached me about a year ago. They're an email marketing thing for realtors. And they told me what they did, and I was like, I sort of felt like it was like when you first saw Seinfeld. You're like, I don't get it. What is it? What's it about? And as Seinfeld said, it's about nothing, right? So, and I was like, yeah, that's good luck, you guys, but I don't think so. Flash forward, I hear from people that I respect in the sphere that were like, we're trying Happy Grasshopper, it's outstanding. Well, what they do is, you populate an email list and they send out your emails for you every 3 weeks or something, and it has nothing to do with real estate whatsoever. Nothing whatsoever. And that's why I didn't get it, was because it's like a short 3-sentence email saying, hey, did you see the video of this 80-year-old lady that does gymnastics? You're not going to believe it. I was laughing so hard I cried. I hope it cheers you up today. If you need anything, let me know, Leslie. Boom, that's the email, right? And I was like, I don't get it. Why, you know, how does that, well, I get more response off of those emails that I don't even send, really. They're going out through me, and I approve the messages, but not one word about real estate. People will call me. First they called me to see if I got hacked. But so it gave me a good wake-up call and reminder that the consumers aren't really necessarily looking always for what we think they're looking for, and what we're giving them might be too much dry toast,
Right.
and they really wanted a piece of fruit, you know,
or butter.
So yeah, or some butter, please make it slide down a little easier, all right? But anyway, that sort of. That sort of really jostled me back into getting into consumer mode and being, you know, more approachable, funnier, putting myself out on a limb a little bit, doing more video, and not worrying so much whether I got it right or I didn't get it right, just doing it. So, you know, and I think that applies to any business that we've got going on. Sometimes you just have to take a step back and go, what do they really want? What do they really want to get from me here instead of what I thought they needed? So
I've been plugging this all day. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. If you never read that book, I think everyone that's doing social media should read that book.
It's a good book.
Because it teaches you how to not look at you, look at the people that you're trying to reach and give them what they want. The reason people want to do the video about the 80-year-old dancing grandmother or whatever it may be is because that person needed to laugh at that moment. So you just help that person laugh. What's so funny? Oh, Leslie sent me something really cool. Who's Leslie? She's into real estate. You know what? My grandmother's neighbor said she wants a house. Let me connect them. That's how that works. Now, if she sends something out about real estate, whatever. That's just the 50th ad I've seen today. I'm in a bad mood. I don't care about this. It's all about connecting with people.
Amen.
How do each of you approach the tenet of branding being known before needed?
Can I take that?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all about.
No, you can't.
I said it in the other class I was just in. It's about being consistent. So you just be you, like with Stinky Cakes. Like, it's weird because I hate throwing out the name, but with my company, anytime someone posted something about like a cute baby or something, I retweet it. That's it. Even now, I'm not trying to sell anyone something. The baby it was a cute baby. It was a nice outfit. It was something that's grandma's happy. You know, all that kind of stuff. And I'm always a part of the conversation. So I just by being consistent, I'm on the top of someone's mind. Like, if you have a light bulb that's blown, chances are you're gonna go to Home Depot or Lowe's. Why? Not because they told you to buy a light bulb from them, but they posted these commercials over and over and over and over and over about home-related stuff. So you think about them.
For me, it's
What was Tom's question? Can you repeat that? I didn't catch every word of it.
The tenet of branding, of being known before needed. How do each of them approach that aspect of it?
Known before needed.
Yeah. Like, just like to Michael's point we said about Home Depot. You go to Home Depot because you know Home Depot sells
So raising
home
the
products.
awareness before people are actually in the
Yeah, so
pipeline.
I'm not looking for a house this week, but in 3 weeks I am. But now I'm going to go to Leslie. Why? Because I know Leslie's fantastic.
Tom, I thought you were
Watch the battle, square girls at the after party.
For me, I treat my name like it's a brand, like Target is, like Nike is. It's who I am and what I do. What I do with my career in the Redheaded Diva may shift. I may rebrand myself at a point where maybe I take on something new, or I, refresh based on what's really hot right now. And but I will always have that as my name. So I may introduce new flavor now or whatever, like cereal does. But I will always keep that constant with me. So I always keep that, but I'll always be willing to change and adapt to what the needs are of my clientele, my marketing, that sort of thing.
For me, I mean, if you want to look at Strictly Businews, which is a web show that I do, when I started the agency in August of '09, that following winter I wanted to do a webinar. And at the time I was 24, 5, and I'm like, who the hell is going to listen to me? I'm like, this new kid on the block, no one's going to listen to anything I have to say. So I wanted to be known, I wanted people to find out who I was locally. So I started a web show, which Michael was actually the first guest on. And then basically I flipped the switch of, instead of talking about marketing, I talked about business. And I invited other people to come on and talk about local topics, national topics, and it ended up catching a little bit of buzz in the sense of people got to know who I am even before they knew what I was doing with the agency. And I got business from it, not because I sat there in every episode and I'm like, hey, my name's Alfonso from the Creative Strategy Agency. If you look back at every episode, I actually never say the agency name. People know who I am on the show. They come on, they get to know who I am. But when the show's done filming, they ask, how did this start? How did you get? So it kind of, in a sense, did the sales for me without me ever saying anything regarding the agency. So it was just finding a little way to promote myself and getting my name out there without even, what I do on the show, I do in person. I talk about the topics on a day-to-day basis. I just end up putting it in front of camera with my friend Corey, who's my co-host as well. And we have different, Kelly's been on, Leslie's been. It's one of those fun things that people come on and they share it and then people watch it and then people know who you are, whether they know what you do, but now they know who you are, they research you, they Google you, and it kind of leads into that. So I use that platform to get more known before they actually knew what I did. And it's been, it's April, right? No, April will be 3 years since I had the show, so it's been working. It's just, it's more of letting people know who I am before what I do, and I think that helps.
Too.
Yes.
What laugh?
What laugh? For me, because since real estate's not something everybody does all the time, like Tom said, it's a while before people might need me, even though hopefully they knew about me. It's blogging for me has been huge in that regard, and that's why I write a lot about non-real estate specific things mixed in with real estate things. So I make it like a community and a real estate blend, and sometimes I write ridiculous things about just my life and the weird shit that goes down. But I think that was a good pivot for me. It's been very influential in having people feel like they get to know me ahead of time. And I do a lot of video blogging as well. So those two things combined, you know, to answer your question, Tom, have given me an opportunity to be in front of people long before we meet. And I'm always thrilled when they say, oh, you look or you sound just like you did in your video, or, you know, I read that post and I really felt like I got to know you. I'm willing to share. I'm a pretty open book. If it happened to me, I probably wrote about it and put it on my blog at some point, just so that people get that, you know, I'm a normal person too. I've had hiccups and financial ups and downs and, you know, distressed home situation and whatever. It's happened. I've been there. I feel you. And I'm happy to share that, so that if you're searching things and you read my blog, you know, hopefully you'll feel a little empathy coming through the blog post, and in that way they'll get to know me before they need me, and hopefully remember me when they're ready, you know.
And just another really quick thing that I can't go back to the importance of understanding how your audience chooses you. And someone said it earlier, like, don't try and be something else. Like if you're a comedian or funny, be that. Don't go and look at someone's other funny post and then try to make it your own thing. Because your friends already know you're not even that funny. Like, so, but they love you for something else. Maybe you're good at knitting, or maybe you're good at cheering about birds, or maybe you're good at whatever you love doing.
Dancing.
Whatever you right? That people love about you. Just share some of that, and there's an audience for everything. Like and I always talk about my mentors because I learn from people. Like one of my mentors says, there's a butt for every seat. So just, you know, make sure just be you, do you. Someone loves what you do. Don't try and be something that you're not, because, you know, it won't work for you.
If you be you, you will have a butt in every seat at every spot you do.
That's it. Well, even with the launch and standout book that I did, I started writing it in my head when I was in the ICU, right? And I wasn't sure if anyone would even want the book or the information that I had. But I spent a year at Westover Job Corps helping those kids, right? And they started asking me, they said, so how'd you start a business? And how you do this? And how you do that? And they're always the same questions from different people. So I realized, wait a minute, I have an audience. I should write this book. Because the same questions they were asking me, the adults were asking me. And business leaders were asking me. And I go, okay, maybe I should do this. My audience already chose me. So now I know if I put it on a book, people are going to buy it. I'm not hoping and guessing. I just got to go back to the people that asked me the questions and say, hey, by the way, here's the book.
Another question?
You know, if I could just sum up really what you guys have all been saying. People like to do business with people they know, that they like, that they trust. So as you're doing your branding and you're making your plans for where you're going to put your name, where you're going to put your face, you're reaching out to those people and letting them know that they can do business with you because they know you, they like you, they'll trust you.
That's what social media is all about. That's why so many of these big brands are losing, because the business model for the big brands for so many years was, well, I'm going to just put out a whole bunch of commercials and people are going to buy my stuff. No, people want to know the people behind the brands now.
Yeah.
I just kind of going off what you guys talk about, and, you know, be yourself and, you know, be who you are. I totally agree with that. And I'm just curious, like, as far as like interaction, online interaction, asking, how do you feel about, you think that asking questions, like, you know, they have that silly, like, what do you call it, the survey thing on Facebook. Do you find like anything like that actually works?
Yeah, the best post that I ever had on my business page was, do you care if your realtor wears a suit? You know, because I don't. I mean, I could, but I'd rather not. And I kind of wondered whether anybody cared, and the overwhelming response was no. You don't need to wear a suit.
Well, you've got to make that question personal. Don't put it in a survey. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the response. I'm telling you, I've never had a question do as well since, but you know, the questions do better for me.
It goes back to your audience.
Yeah. And if you ask a simple question that if someone answers, they won't feel silly or they don't feel inferior. Like, do you like a suit? Yes or no? Yeah. No. Yeah. My opinion. See, because most people are afraid to be scrutinized. So if you ask questions where it's almost like, if they give their opinion, because they answer the question, they read your post and they answer it in their head. Now, if you get them to post it, it's a different story. But if it's something that is not threatening to them, they'll post and talk about it. And if they like you, hey, I really need your feedback. Hey, I need your help with something. People want to help. They want to be engaged.
Well, it's just like everyone's been saying all day today. It is about being you. Post a survey if it works for you, but just make sure it's in your own voice. And, you know, it's not formal.
Right.
It's absolutely you. So, yeah, those are tools. I always say it's people behind it. And it's just making sure that you reflect what you're putting out there.
And I guess even like, does that, you feel like if you use those tools, you know, as a, you know, using it as a personal, you know, something that is personal, do you find that it is helpful as far as interaction goes?
I think it is.
Because I don't know, I feel like it's gone both ways. Like, I put a question out there.
Depends on the topic.
Yeah, sometimes, but when you get a few answers, then sometimes I'll take that and write a blog post about it, and then repost the blog post, and then get more answers, and maybe, you know,
and
like.
then we learn why you wear what you wear. You know, and learn a little bit more about you.
It's got to be something that people feel something about.
Right.
Because if it doesn't, if they don't feel anything about it, like you said, they're gonna answer the question. They're gonna go on to the next thing. So make it be something that they feel something about.
Exactly, and like Al was saying, it's based on your audience. So like, if I post a question about nursing a baby, I don't expect any guys to answer. You
wouldn't post that question in a forum that was geared to tap dance.
Right, exactly. So it's like fishing. So if you certain fish like certain types of bait. So if you put a gourmet steak in front of a school of marlin, none of them are going to eat that. They want the little fish that they eat on. So you have to see it's a lot of work to get people to engage. And you stop and look. If one person answers, look at that as 250 people answer it. And then you just leverage that and you start doing more of what works. Don't do what you want to do. Right. Do what they want. Right. And then that's how you engage. Because if me and you talking and I'm only talking about me, and this kind of goes back to Dale Carnegie. He says, when you look, people's favorite person is themselves. Not to be selfish or cocky, that's what it is. If you look at, like if they take a picture of everyone in this room right now, the first person everyone's looking for is themselves. And it's not even to be cocky. Did I smile? Was I blinking?
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Right, you know what I mean? And then they go, oh, this guy was funny. So you have to give them content that they want. So listen to your audience first. Get to really know them. See what they talk about. See what they engage about. And then start to add to that conversation. Then they start looking at you for the information. Then they will engage when you don't expect them to engage.
I think an undercurrent of all of that is patience.
Yeah.
You know,
oh yeah.
You can't. I mean, it takes time to develop.
Oh yeah. I mean, people, especially with video, they think everything they're going to put out there is going to be viral. It's not. It's not. 99.99999. Unless you're burning your hair or you have a cat, you're not getting anywhere.
Burning the hair.
Yeah, if you're burning the hair off the cat, you got gold. Well, I mean, it's one of those things where those viral instances, they're far and few, but most of them are mistakes or embarrassing moments. And I'm sure for all of us, we probably don't want embarrassing moments of us to be viral. It might be great for like the 30 seconds of fame, but then it's over. And then that video stuck with, oh, that's a guy that fell in the trash can a million times or whatever.
And most of these videos and content that you see go viral is because an influential person posted about it or blogged about it, and that's how you move it much faster. The process is the same for everyone. It's a slow process, and like I said in my speech earlier, like you don't want to get caught up in likes and follows and all this stuff, because you can buy those. Everyone right now could go on Fiverr and have over 500 followers before they leave here, but those people aren't engaging in you. It looks good, but it's bringing you nothing. So
well, and so being viral or having the most followers or whatever only matters if they're the kind of people that are going to do business with you.
Right. So like I said, like Nicki Minaj has like 7 million followers, right? And most of those people hate her. But most of the world, it is. But see, Nicki Minaj she isn't really concerned. She isn't concerned with the 6 million people that don't like her. It's the million people that will buy anything she puts out, and that should be everyone's approach. I think we have like 670 likes on Facebook. I'm concerned with the 200 people that buy my stuff every time I put something out, not the rest. Because some people are copycats. Some people just watching to see you fail, and don't focus on them. You focus on the ones that supporting you, like the likes and all this other stuff. If there's only one person liking my product and that one person buying it, hey, I have a customer.
Sorry, I'm just reading Tom's tweet.
I knew my job as moderator would not be tough with this crew, and we have reached the end of our session, so let's have a round of applause for our time.